to the 17th. The beach party announcement is this Thursday, April the 7th, and there's going to be a limited number of early bird ticket sales, and they're going to be $20, and they will go on sale on Friday morning. Details will be posted on the town website, so anyone looking to get their tickets early. And I would imagine people are very anxious to get back at the Squid Fest with the pandemic and get out. You know what I mean? It's a great mix and mingle for your families, for people coming home. Especially this year, the province has announced come home year. So we really hope people will take advantage of it and come home during the Squid Fest. And we're also looking at doing another event in the fall outside of Squid Fest for a come home year. So we're planning that too. We're working on that in our department too. Another one I'm going to touch base on is, Councillor Crowley will do a motion on it later on, but it is the soccer field. The soccer field is finished over there, but in that pot of money, there was money in that $75,871.25, and that was for equipment for the facility. So Councillor Crowley got the details on the motion from corporate services, so she's going to bring forward that motion now a little bit. But, you know, to finish it off and to be able to have the $75,000 part of that pot of money to actually get some equipment for that site is great, you know what I mean? And with that being said, we've done an announcement today on social media for our summer soccer registration, and it's going to be April the 18th to April the 22nd. And we're actually getting people inquiring about it now, and there is a group there now that's after looking for a ladies' league too. You probably see it posted on social media. And I think they reached out to the office, and a couple people reached out to me and the recreation. So we're going to see what we can come up with. But you know, what I mean, they were looking at outside of the soccer program if they could avail and start up a ladies' league here in the area, in the CBC area, the same thing as CBS has now. And some of these people are down in CBS playing, so they're hoping to be able to utilize the field outside of the soccer program to have it run a ladies' league. And the more people and the more groups that we can get to use that facility, that's what it's there for. It's there for recreation. It's there for people to get out and enjoy it. So if we can get more groups outside the soccer program to take avail of it, outside those times, it'd be great to see it being used to its maximum, just especially during the summer months while it's being used.
Absolutely.
And I think that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Buckle. Any questions on that, Councillor Crowley?
Not really questions, but I know Roncalli is also going to be really excited about that because they haven't had a place to have an outdoor soccer team. So they were kind of really looking forward to going in partnership with us and being able to use it. So that's exciting as well.
I'm confident there's going to be a lot of interest in that facility. Soccer is really growing in leaps and bounds, and it's a great facility. Okay, if that's it for recreation community events, thank you very much, folks. We will move on to infrastructure and public works. So we have Councillor Sadie King and Councillor Windsor. Your mic, Sadie.
We held our infrastructure and public works meeting on March the 17th. Present were CAO Gary Corbis, Director of Infrastructure Robert Stacey, Mayor Gubby, and Councillor Stephen Windsor and myself. A lot of issues were discussed that day and a lot of recommendations made, but at this time we're not ready to bring them to council. They will be brought at the appropriate time when everything is ready. Work was started on the pressure reducing valve on the north side a short time ago, and it has been progressing very favorably. Water was shut off yesterday and connection was made to the main, and at 2 p.m. the water was restored again, so it didn't take as long as they thought. If the weather holds and everything goes as planned, we are hoping to complete the remaining water line and bend installation within the next short time, could be a week or 2 weeks before it's finished. So that'll take care of that. And I was also talking to Robert, and seeing we're having a really mild spring, they've got ahead on the ditching. So they've started ditching on the north side of Holyrood and down on the back road next to the rail bed. They've got some ditching done there. And now they're started on the Tank Road. And if this weather holds, they'll be able to continue going throughout Holyrood. So with an early start, it's making it a lot easier for everybody.
Early start, yeah, which is good.
An early
for
start.
that, yeah.
And that's it for me. I'll pass it over to my co-chair there person, Steve.
Thanks, Sadie. Yeah, it's good for us to rotate out, I think, and you know, I really enjoy our committee work, I really do, and the public works staff are doing so much good work in the town. Very well said. There's not much more for me to add now. There's one little thing that came up over the last 24 hours that I'll share with you. Is that there's a mink problem at the marina now, and there's two boats that have been completely destroyed on the inside by these minks, and the other owners are checking to see if that has also occurred to them. And Wildlife, Robert Stacey, has contacted the necessary departments responsible, the province, and the Canadian Wildlife Service, and as well the marina board members have made the same contact, sort of hit it from both sides and bring some importance or attention to the issue, right? And you know, there's some speculation wondering is that you know related in some way to the overpopulation of the ducks, because minks do prey on ducks, and one problem leads to another. But I just thought I'd you know, share that with you for your attention. Put my button on this time. Really thrown off, hey? Like in
We're not used to it anymore.
or everyone, for the hundreds of
here to
viewers
stay
at
now.
home, as Bruce likes to say, right? You know, like used to doing it remotely from home,
Yeah.
no suit jacket, not pressing the button, so you know, not on my A game tonight. But that's it for infrastructure, public works. Thank
Well,
you.
we're here to stay now, so. All right, thank you very much, Councillor Windsor. And yeah, that is very, you know, that's disheartening to hear, you know, that mink, you know, sort of made the home down there. And it was discovered then that a couple of boat owners had their boats literally destroyed inside, I guess, with all the furnishings and, you know, the upholstery and everything. So that must be quite a mess. And the thing is, how many more are going to be discovered too when you go down and check them out? So that's the thing, right? And, you know, we know that there's been a lot of ducks there. We've been trying to find a solution to that because people have been feeding them, and that keeps the ducks there, right? And they're not, and actually, it actually does more harm to the ducks. And they say the best thing to do, and this was the Wildlife Federation or whatever, the best thing is discontinue feeding the ducks, and they'll return to their natural habitat and their natural environment. Because if you go up to Butterpot Pond, you'll see them all there, especially in the spring. You got the mother duck and all the ducklings following, and then the father is circling around to protect. So, you know, that's a natural habitat, a natural area. So when they're down there and people they're eating human food, it's not recommended. And that's what's keeping the ducks there. And of course now we got the minks that's moving in on the ducks because they love a feed a duck. So, but hopefully the damage at the marine and the boats are kept to a minimum and isolated to just those two. But I understand that they are working on that problem. Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Windsor and Councillor Sadie King. Any other questions on infrastructure and public works? And it's great to see the PRV project moving along, and from what I understand in speaking with Mr. Stacey, things are progressing very well, and that's going to be fabulous news to all the residents on North Side, because I have been speaking with a few, and they shared stories about the past where they had excessive amounts of pressure on their line. Their lines are a bit older, and like Councillor Buckle said there at a meeting there, you know, when you see those copper pipes discoloring and everything, you know that the structural integrity is being compromised, and it's only a matter of time when they're going to spring leaks. We have one gentleman over there now. He was out of water all winter because he didn't want to take it on to go digging up the road and everything else. So now that we got this pressure relief valve project almost completed, that's going to reduce the pressure down to, is it 90 psi, which is the normal operating pressure? So along North Side. So when it reaches their home, it should be at normal pressure. So that should be a big relief to the residents over there. Costly project, but it was cost share. Councillor Buckle?
And not only for the pressure, but, you know, I mean, our biggest concern here in Holyrood, you know, I mean, when we have leaks, when you have the massive pressure that's not controlled by pressure reducing valve, I mean, it might be days before you find the leak. The amount of water that we use because of the high pressure, that's the other thing, right?
Exactly. Good point. Yeah. Okay, now we'll move on to business development and marketing. I'm going to do it this week. The deputy mayor has been doing it now for a while. Just a few items here. On March 24th, our business and marketing development team, consisting of myself, Deputy Mayor Woodford, CAO Corbett, and the Director of Business and Marketing Development, Marjorie Gibbons, had the pleasure of meeting with representatives from Marine Institute, including Mr. Rob Shea, Vice President, Marine Institute, Paul Brett, Assistant Vice President of Research and Strategic Partnerships, Laurie Skinner, Assistant VP of Administration and Finance, and Kelly Santos, who's the new director at the Marine Base. Of course, it's now the launch. We got to get used to saying that. So we had a very informative and productive meeting with a great exchange of dialogue and discussion. They informed us that the building construction is proceeding well and is on target to open in the fall of this year. So I think the target date is somewhere around latter part of August, early September. Keep fingers crossed. So we expect to see researchers and ocean technology companies locally and globally using this facility on a regular basis. Additionally, there will be thousands of students participating in the offshore safety and survival programs at that site yearly. So needless to say, this building will be fully utilized year-round. Now, we were very pleased to hear the delegation do not want this facility to operate in isolation, but rather as a community building. And they want their home to be our home. There will be space available to accommodate community groups and students for various events and activities. We also discussed ways and means of broadening our partnership and collaboration between Marine Institute and the town. As a result, we will be renewing and expanding the Memorandum of Understanding we signed with them several years ago to enhance that relationship. From a town's perspective, our goal is to attract business development from the private sector that will be required to meet their needs. Some of those include accommodations, catering services, and skilled trades, just to name a few. This aligns perfectly with our long-term plan of diversifying our local economy. Business development means creating sustainable employment opportunities, broadening our tax base to help stabilize taxes, and attract new families to our community. Our partnership with Marine Institute is a win-win for everyone, and the opportunities will be boundless. The opening of this building will be the start of great things to come. And a couple of more items there. We have two new startup companies that have set up here at the beachhead in the municipal building. One company involves an international student who is starting a new company which will deal with underwater remote vehicles used in research and development. The other is a group of 4 graduate students involved in the development of alternate energy sources. Both companies will be working closely with Marine Institute and other partners to develop their business ideas and put them in practice in real life, real-time opportunities. As a component of the Oceans Holyrood initiative, these are exactly the kind of business development companies we hope to assist. And we look forward to working with these young companies to help them establish and become successful. Okay, on another note, the business flyer, is a mail-out information piece which will be sent to all residents to inform individuals the town is very proactive in helping local business to grow and develop. The message to everyone is if you have an existing business, if you have a business and have not yet registered with the town, or if you have a business idea you haven't yet to put in action, the town is willing to work with you to get you where you want to take your business or your idea. We offer information, we offer partner opportunities, we can link you to funding opportunities, and so we're a source of support. So basically, come and talk to us. Come and speak with Marjorie, our Director of Business and Marketing Development, and we can provide a lot of assistance in many areas. And last but not least is the boardwalk. I guess everybody's wondering now what the status is of the boardwalk. The timber has finally arrived and the bridge has been completed. The old boardwalk has been removed in the areas where there will be concrete walkway, and these areas are being prepared for concrete. Once this is complete, the underground electrical can be completed for the lighting, which are a component of phase 2 of this total project. The asphalt sections of the boardwalk are waiting for the opening of the plants, which occur in May. And we all know what happened back early winter. The weather was not conducive. There was a lot of challenges there with the weather and everything else, and unfortunately the company had to discontinue the work. But the weather is broke now and they will be picking up again, and hopefully that project will be finished in due course. So that's it for business, marketing and development. Any questions on that? Okay, if not, we will move on to public safety. So we have Councillor Bruce and Councillor Buckle.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, fellow councillors, staff, and of course, like Councillor Windsor said, the hundreds of people listening attentively at home.
It's getting up there.
I just got to, actually, we're going to be, got to get off the subject here for a second, but we're going to be like McDonald's when they started off millions and millions served. We're going to be up to hundreds. Anyway, I just want a few points. We did have our last public safety meeting on March 7th. So most of those points that were discussed on March 7th were discussed at the public meeting on the 15th. And our next public safety meeting is on this Friday, the 8th, at 9:30. So just a few points that happened before then. But before I get into the public safety points, and I've never ever thought in a million years being on council, I would be discussing mink and ducks. But I just want to say one thing about the mink as a public safety thing and not as a joke. But mink are a very aggressive animal. And if you corner them, there's two things. And especially when you're dealing with a boat that's probably close to $100,000, or probably some of them maybe even more than that. There's two things. One, if they're cornered, they're very aggressive and they will actually attack you. And the other thing that's probably even worse, they're like a skunk when they get cornered. So the last thing you need in your $100,000 cabin cruiser is a smell that you're never ever going to get clear of, right? And if people, if you know, have any dealings with mink, or the wildlife will tell you that, they're very aggressive and they make an awful smell. So anyway, getting to the other points with regards to public safety, on the 30th of March, we put forward an application to the provincial government for a new emergency vehicle, a rescue vehicle. The fire chief has looked from one end of this country to the other to try to find a vehicle that meets their specifications with regards to a rescue vehicle in the second-hand category. There's absolutely nothing out there, so we put forward an application to the provincial government to see if we can get funding to purchase a new rescue vehicle. So we are going to lobby our MHA, the Minister of Public Safety, because one of the things that people need to understand when you say, and we've discussed this over and over here in council, is why would people in Corner Brook or anywhere else be interested in a rescue vehicle in Holyrood? Well, the very simple answer is the Holyrood Fire Department also responds to emergencies between the Witless Bay Line and Butterpot Park. So if you're traveling on the Trans-Canada at any time in the day or night, there's a very good chance if there's something happening, we know spring is coming and the moose are on the move. I seen one across from my house there the other day. So moose are on the move. There's traffic accidents on a regular basis. So that rescue vehicle could very well be looking after somebody from St. Anthony, for example. So we're going to lobby to see if we can get a rescue vehicle. The fire department needs a rescue vehicle, and I think we should do everything we can to make sure that we achieve that in the rescue vehicle. The other point is with regards to Route 60. Everybody knows the Route 60, especially the portion running through Holyrood, is in awful shape. I mean, it is. It's one of those things we could probably classify as a cart path. right? Because of the holes and everything else. And I know people get on social media and they complain about Route 60 and they complain about the potholes. And that's absolutely good because it gives people a warning over the winter where all the potholes were. Okay? But I would just ask people as well, if you're going to take those few seconds or a minute or whatever to put it on social media and complain about the potholes and complain about the road, just take that extra 20 seconds and fire off an email to the MHA or the Minister of Public Safety and tell them, look, the road is in awful shape. Okay, we're almost up to budget time, so it's a good time to put this in people's mind and at the forefront that the road does need to be paved. I mean, there's great filling in the holes and stuff like that, but there's going to come a time with all the heavy equipment that goes over the road. Every time there's some kind of a diversion on the Trans-Canada Highway like it was before with regards to culverts, the steady flow of traffic, and it's heavy vehicles, heavy trucks and everything else, and it's destroying the road here on Route 60. So the old adage is about the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Well, here we're going to have to use the bent rim gets the asphalt. Okay, so.
Councillor King, if I could interject for a second, I drafted up a letter on behalf of the town, and it was presented to our MHA, and she actually tabled that under petitions in the House Assembly.
Excellent. And the last point, I just want to, before I turn it over to Councillor Buckle, is I just want to say another thank you to the RCMP for enforcing the Highway Traffic Act. They are on a regular basis down on Route 60, and from what I've been told, they're also on the Salmon Air Line and other places where there's a lot of high-speed traffic. So I just want to say thank you to the RCMP for a job well done, and at this time I will turn it over to Councillor Buckle.
And on Route 60, we can't forget too, there's a large section in North Arm.
Yes.
Just down from the ridge, from there up to the Irving, it's a very bad road. So we can't forget the area in North Arm. Thank you very much, sir. Councillor Buckle.
Yeah, Councillor Bruce King done a great update there. Just one thing was and we talked about the north side of the pressure reducing valve being done. I mean, we had some concerns. First was brought to us about the road closure down there because of the school and the buses and the Marine Institute and the detour and stuff. But it seems like it has been working out really well, and people are obeying and respecting vehicles, especially over on the far north side and a couple of tight areas over there with the buses. But it seems it's working out good, and it was back to us before the detour was done to public safety. So it's good to see that that's working out. And as they said earlier, Councillor Windsor and Councillor King, that hopefully that will be done in the next little while. And one good thing about probably having a construction company that's doing that, Where's Construction, you know what I mean, that do have an asphalt plant, maybe they'll want to finish that project right away, and they won't have to wait for if that was another company, they'd have to wait for an asphalt plant to open, but they're the owners of an asphalt plant, so hopefully it'll be done, completed, paid, and all pretty quick. And the other one is that we're talking about Route 60, and Councillor King mentioned it there, and as the Mayor knows, even in the previous councillor, we've done motions of council on Route 60 on the south side of Holyrood and North Arm. In sections of North Arm, we've done motions of council to the Minister, and the Mayor said that he did drop off a letter to the MHA, and it was tabled as a petition on our behalf. But I noticed last fall there was a lot of survey work done on Route 60. Now it was done from Smith's Furniture in Upper Gullies right up through there, right up through Seal Cove, right into Holyrood to the roundabout. You know what I mean? So there was a lot of survey work done there. There was a gentleman doing all the survey work. So hopefully that will mean that there will be some money come in this year's budget for that section of road if we're lucky enough, hopefully. And the other thing is, people think, okay, go down and pave it. Pavement is one thing. Yes, a coat of asphalt is one thing. But underneath that pavement, there's a lot of major culverts that's getting ready to, deteriorated, rusted out, no different than the ones around our town, and we see them all the time. We replace them. We done north side ourselves last year. So it's no good to go down putting a coat of asphalt on Route 60. The ditching got to be done. Your road is only as good as your drainage, and your drainage is only as good as your culverts. So all that got to be done part of the job like they done on Salmon Line. So hopefully we'll see something done on that this year if we're lucky enough. It's not that this council and the previous councils didn't lobby enough onto it. Mr. Mayor, you're a part of the previous council, and Councillor King. You know what I mean? For years and years, we've been lobbying to get that done. So hopefully we will see something done this year. And as Councillor Bruce King said, you know what I mean, it is a safety concern because people are cutting from potholes. You know what I mean? And someone's coming up and they hits a pothole and gets a bent rim. Sometimes they stop in the road, and with the speed which the RCMP are taking control over for us, and we had a meeting with them in public safety. And since they've started doing a bit of extra work around here, they've always been doing work, and resources is their thing too. But the resources that they've been putting in Holyrood, in North Arm, Summerline, South Side for speeds over the last little while is really starting to cut down on it. And you can see them there, and there's a lot of people getting pulled over and, you know what I mean, getting dealt with. So after we had that meeting with the RCMP, it's good that, you know what I mean, public safety had that meeting with the RCMP, and that we can sit down and discuss the issues from the RCMP to look after. Because, you know what I mean, we don't really have municipal enforcement here. We do have some part-time at times, but, you know what I mean, we don't have municipal enforcement. We don't have our own people to look after the bylaws and speed. So it's great to have the RCMP and that working commitment with the RCMP that the town has had in this council and previous councils, and it's great to see. And, you know what I mean, for them to stay here in Holyrood, the new building, it's great for Holyrood too, because, you know what I mean, at any point of the day, they have got to go back to their detachment, and the detachment's in Holyrood, so you're always getting covered from the police. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. I heard the minister today speaking in the House, and he was talking about the roads plan. He said it's quite an extensive list, so let's just hope that we're on it. Yes. Yes, we have. I can't answer that right now, but I haven't heard anything from the CAO on that. I did speak with the MHA, and like I said, she did forward off a letter on Route 60, but I haven't heard from the minister. No. So I think that what we need to do is have the CAO, send off another letter. I agree. Keep it on the front burner and keep the pressure on. Like Councillor Windsor said, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Oh, that was Councillor King. So, but we're going to be adamant on it, and that's what we have to do. And it's a heavily traveled road. We are a growing municipality, and we have a lot of people frequenting that, through our community, whether they're heading to these projects up on the Trans-Canada, tourism in the summertime, and we understand it's a big province, geographically, and there's a lot of roads, and we understand that with the weather conditions and the climate change and everything, that a lot of them roads are in bad shape, but we haven't seen that, that level of attention for many years, and I think our time is due to get our roads done, and like Councillor Buckle said, and you're absolutely right, there's more than just laying on asphalt. It's your ditching, and ditching is only good as your culverts. So if it's going to be done, like Salmon Line, top-notch job that was done a few years ago, never had an issue since. So anyway, okay, thank you very much, folks, for that. And now we will move on to communications. Councillor Crawley.
Good evening, everyone. We met as a communications committee on Thursday, March 24th. And it was myself and Deputy Mayor Woodford, Councillor Sada King. We had Steve Martin from Recreation, Marjorie Gibbons from Business Development Marketing. So we adopted our terms of reference. So we're confident now. We are all moving forward on the same page. So we know where our goal lies and where we're moving forward. We talked about the new website, and there has been a meeting now set up for April 12th. So that Robotic Interactive can introduce the new website to all councillors, and we have a chance to check it out, look at it, and then spend some time on it and see if it's going to be serviceable like we want it to be. Our communication plans is continuing, so we're still reviewing the plan. We're taking it piece by piece. Each staff now are probably going to take a couple of pieces at a time just to keep it moving forward. Once we have a chunk of sections done, we'll put it into a formal policy that we will agree on, confirm, and send it to council so we can check that out. There was a little section there that talks constantly about the town's respectful workplace policy, and we requested that we had a copy of that, so that was sent out to councillors as well to make sure that, because we have to adhere to it the same as staff and everyone else, so just to keep everyone updated on what that is. And it is posted, and it was updated March 2020, so it's recent. And the last part was that we noticed that the communication plan did not involve committee-to-committee communication. So that was something we felt was necessary now with the amount of work that committees are doing in council now. It's a lot of committee-based work. So we're going to include that and come up with part of that as policy as well, so that everything, whatever's decided upon on the committees and sent out in the minutes, if you have a concern or a question about it, then you would approach the committee first and then come out to council, and that should minimize all the shooting off of emails going left, right, and center, and everyone trying to keep track of it, and other like questions coming up in the public meetings that catch us completely off guard. Not that healthy questioning and banter and stuff is not good for council, but when you're kind of caught and you don't have the answer to it, it's nice to be prepared a little bit. Not that we want to be scripted, but prepared, right? So that's where we left off with council. We're still working on piece by piece. With council, committee, communications. I'll get it. You're right. We're getting in the groove. So that's it. I don't know if any deputy mayor had anything else you wanted to add.
No.
Or
I
Mercedes.
think you included everything that we
Okay.
discussed.
Yeah, we're meeting
Okay.
regularly.
Thank you, Councillor Crowley, and keep up the good job, you and your committee, and because this is a very important piece of work for the town to improve our communication, which is all meant to enhance openness, better improvement in openness and transparency for our residents. Right, so anyway, keep the wheels moving. You're doing a great job. Okay, now we'll move on to Operational Review Committee. So we have Councillor Windsor, Councillor Buckle, or Councillor.
I'll
King.
go ahead, guys, and comment. We're all equally involved. Unfortunately, we don't have as thorough an update as Councillor Crowley on her special assignment in the Communications Committee. And Councillor King is going to get very annoyed with myself and Councillor Buckle soon, I think, because really the problem has been our working schedules not aligning, so we're both very busy. And of course, Councillor Buckle also has the added complication of some shift work, right? So we're trying to work through that and find some time to get together and have a discussion. One thing I'll say as well, I ended up talking to the CAO on a different subject and had a conversation about the operation review with him. So it was a very good conversation, and CAO understands and supports the fact that this is an independent, healthy verification and review exercise. So I'll say that for all the council and residents to understand that, and and we'll continue to update you at the appropriate time. So really, we must absolutely, next council meeting we have in 3 or 4 weeks' time, I think it is, give a more robust update, I think. Guys, any comment?
Thank you,
And-
Councillor Windsor.
And we decided, with our work schedule, and Bruce is pretty flexible, he already told us, but myself and Steve and the mayor is going to be on the committee with us, sitting in too, probably. But we're going to, if worst case scenario, we're going to try to even do it through a Zoom meeting or something. If we got to get it up and to get it started, then when we get into it, then we'll sit down and we'll go through it, the terms of reference. But we'll get it moved over the next little while. So if we can't get in person here, we'll do it even some lunch hour or something for an hour. If we got to do it a couple times to get stuff moving, that's what we'll do. Thank you.
Well, I will say that I know that you have a fair amount of work done behind the scenes, but you're waiting until you want to make the full presentation to council.
Absolutely, and Councillor Buckle also had some IT problems last week with emails and stuff, which happens. And but yeah, I think that we're going to plan for maybe like a lunchtime phone call. I think probably might be the best thing to do. And Councillor King and Mayor Gooby, please don't rub it in anymore that we're still in the working age of our
Oh, I'm done with that now.
And you fellows are retired, have all the time in the world, and
I thought to myself the other day, say, okay, I'm after rubbing this in now, enough. So leave it alone. So I won't taunt you anymore there, Councillor Windsor. Okay, thank you very much, folks. And now we'll move on to corporate services, so Councillor Crowley can pay some bills.
Here we go. We'll give you a little update before I pay those bills. So we met on March 31st through Zoom. CAO Gary Corbett, Mayor was in attendance, myself, Bruce King, Councillor, and Ray Searle, Director of Finance. So we went through, as I stated previously, we're going through the operating policy and procedure document. So we're working through that piece by piece, because again, it's a very large document. We want to make sure that it's up to date and valid. So we discussed a few items, passed through no problem. We did have a quick discussion, and we will revisit it, talking about a youth representative, and we had to work out some technical issues with possibly having a youth member sit on our council, or also a mock youth committee. So we discussed that as well, which is all really exciting ideas, and we think it's going to be really exciting to have that. So we'll discuss that at a further date and bring it to all of council. And we discussed our municipal donation policy. We're getting ready to bring that to full council to pass. We had a few little review options that we need to go through. The procurement audit, same thing. Other things came up, more pressing, urgent matters came up. So the procurement audit, policy will be in draft very shortly. Will be in our hands this week, and we can review that. And other than that, we reviewed our financials. We went through the Squid Fest spending, and we pieced through that. We want to make sure that we were all aligned and all on the same page for Squid Fest spending. And finally, for our public works and services vehicles, some of them are getting a bit dilapidated and old, outdated, and are becoming unsafe on the roads. So we were approached about possible financial spending for a newer vehicle, not new vehicle, but a newer one. And we talked about getting those finances worked in through other means. So the selling off or the auctioning off of some other public works vehicles. Because it's impossible. My back is to you and I feel sore. So there's lots of options out there, and we'll come to council with that when it's ready to be passed motion.
Good.
So that was our update. We do have a few motions to put forward now. If I can keep finding them. Okay, be it resolved, and this is just a regular paying of bills. Be it resolved that accounts tabled in the amount of $192,418.23. That's check number D2406, D2422, and 043101 to 043175 be approved for payment.
Okay, moved by Councillor Crowley, seconded by Councillor King. Further discussion? If not, all those in favor? Those against? Motion is carried.
Our bank book balance update, it's getting up there, $4,876.30. Hey, we're still in the black. And finally, we, as Councillor Buckle mentioned earlier, as part of our finance for the soccer field upgrades, there was some money to put aside for the equipment, benches, not just the benches, the dugouts. That's the word. I was looking forward to calling it, yeah. And bleachers and things like that. So that was all wrapped up in our previous financing. So be it resolved, the town of Holyrood accept the recommendation of Innovative Engineering for the purchase of soccer equipment for the soccer field upgrades, project number 17-CCR-20-00007. The recommendation prepared by Innovative would result in the acceptance of the bids submitted by Coastline Specialties Limited in the amount of $60,691.25, and that's HST included, for players' shelters and bleachers. Shelters, that's the word. And the bid submitted by Sportscraft, Source for Sports, in the amount of $15,180, HST included, for the combination nets. Innovative reviewed 4 submitted bids and determined that these mentioned bids to be in order and recommend contracts be awarded immediately to avoid price changes in the industry. The letter recommending this awarded contract is also submitted to Municipal Affairs as per the conditions of the funding for this project. The monies identified are within the budget of the project. And I would like to say we actually came under budget.
Small surplus.
That's like, yeah, small surplus, under budget. Never
Excellent.
heard, like unheard of. So that's fantastic. So moved.
Okay, moved by Councillor Crawley, seconded by Councillor Buckle. Further discussion? If not, all those in favor, those against, motion is carried.
Right. And I am complete.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Crawley. And now we're into new business. I'll do the go-around, starting with the Deputy Mayor.
I just wanted to, There we go. No, I just wanted to probably add on to the Marine Institute meeting that we had. It was a great meeting. Such a collaborative feeling from the new team because they're all kind of new to their roles over there, and it certainly they presented it as a community space, not just a technical learning type of environment, and they're very excited to be working with us on that. So, you know, they've committed to meeting with us on a regular basis in order to keep us informed on how things are going, identifying what services that they need so that we can be able to locate those services within the town and make it a whole holistic, I guess, approach for anyone that comes in to do any amount of training or anything technical or whatever within the Marine Institute. So I'm really looking forward to working with them over the next few months to try to get everything up to speed for when they open in September. But it was a great meeting. It was
Very good meeting.
Yeah, it's a lot to look forward to. What they're going to bring into the town of Holyrood, and we just have to be sure that we have enough to offer everyone that's coming in. So lots of business opportunities out there for anybody who wants to start a business. There's lots of business opportunities coming.
We've been planning that now for years because I knew it was coming since 2009. And I've seen the conceptual design.
But that's it for me.
Okay, thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Bruce King.
I just have a couple of points. First of all, I just want to remind people and residents with regards to the Wall of Honor. There are pictures coming in, so we want to get as many pictures on the wall as we possibly can. So good luck with that one. Some points that the museum wanted me to bring forward, and the first one, it has to do with the caboose. And first of all, Councillor Windsor and I have already discussed about the caboose. It's going to be on the agenda for our public safety meeting on Friday. But the consensus amongst everybody, at least the people that I've talked to, that the caboose should stay in the town of Holyrood, right? It's been here for a while. The museum's got a lot of ideas with regards to what they would like to do with the caboose, whether it be a chalet for tourism, displays for trains and pictures of trains and of the days when locomotives moved through the town of Holyrood. So there's a whole slew of different ideas, and we can explore all of these and see which ones makes the most sense, how much it would cost, where it would go to go. So anyway, once we discuss this on Friday, we'll bring it back to council, and also we will just consult with the Heritage Committee and see where it's going to go. Some other points. The volunteers over there are working on the Golden Eagle display. They're hoping to have that up and running in the very near future, and everybody's doing a great job. They wanted to say a big thank you to town staff for the renovation work that's going on. So I'm sure Robert will pass that on to the staff, that these guys are doing a fantastic job. The staff are also working on a display outside of the museum to pay honor to Ukraine. So that hopefully will be finished off by the end of this week, and I'm sure the staff over there will advertise it when it's ready to go, and people can go by and have a look at it. So that they're working on that one as well. The other one that it came up before, they're still looking for mannequins. They have a lot of uniforms and stuff over there, and they're looking for mannequins with regards to put these uniforms on. But I want to tell people the same thing I told people before, because the last time I put out on social media with regards to mannequins, there was 3 or 4 people, no names, wanted to donate their husbands for mannequins. Okay, so I told them no, because then it's going to cost extra money to have to feed them while they're over there. Okay, so when it goes out on social media, no husbands. Okay, so if people got old military uniforms, medals, contact the museum, and you can either donate it to the museum, or you can lease it or loan it to the museum on a temporary basis or whatever. But Linda and her staff will be absolutely fantastic. They're happy to have it, and we'll see from there. The other point, the last point I want to bring up is at the last public meeting we discussed, and I know Councillor Windsor brought it up, it was with regards to these quarries and other places within the communities that, you know, I guess for the want of a better word, probably an eyesore. And I just want to throw this out there for consumption here. On the 5th of June of every year, they start off Environment Week. And I know when we did it in the military, we marked Environment Week. And what we did, we went out, we contacted the nursery for the provincial government out in Willowdale. There's a provincial government that grows trees just to reforestation, and also they also donated to schools and charitable events. We did it. We bought in flats of them, about a couple of hundred trees, and everybody that wanted them took the trees home and they planted them. So that's something we may want to look at too as an environmental thing, and maybe get the schools involved, maybe get the kids out for a day. We can identify these different areas that need some trees. And not only that, but kids can take them home, because we were talking about the idea of people planting trees on their property. And these things grow pretty fast. I got about 6 or 8 of them down there that I put in. And they're I guess you can say they're genetically created to grow quick, because most of them are being used for reforestation, where lumber companies go in, they cut everything down, and then they go back in and plant them. And within the space of 10 or 15 years, you can go back and cut them again. So there's an option there with regards to, you know, Environment Week, and we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We can, you know, replant these places, get the kids involved, show them what, you know, the environment and stuff like that. So I think this probably would be a win-win for everybody. So that's something we should consider. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So that's Wiltondale, is it just outside of Deer Lake?
It's between,
Yeah,
it's between Grand Falls and Bishop's Falls. It's the tree nursery. But if anybody wants it, I can definitely get the information for you.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir. Councillor Crowley?
I just want to make a little mention to go along with all your public safety notifications is, obviously, if you drive through Holyrood now, there's a lot happening. There's a lot of construction, a lot of machinery, a lot of barriers up. There's the Newfoundland Power going through. It's just like kind of be mindful to residents to be extra careful. The weather's getting nice. People are out walking. And it just seems like a little bit of Mario Kart going on here lately. So we want to make sure that cognizant of what's around you and how much is going on in the town. So that was all. Little public safety notice.
Very, very good point, because there, like you say, there's a lot of construction going on. There's a lot of barriers up. I know last week there was Newfoundland Power trucks all over the community.
And this week?
And this week, so you do have to be very mindful when you're approaching these areas, because this time of year, as you say, there's a lot of people out walking now, so you got to be careful behind the wheel. Okay, thank you, Councillor Buckle.
Just a couple of quick points. I'll just touch base, as yourself and the Deputy Mayor said you had the meeting with the Marine Institute. You know what I mean? To be able to see that building now and what's there now, and see it being finalized and finished, and you know what I mean, what that's going to bring to the town of Holyrood. You know what I mean? When I first started, I went to Woods Hole with the Marine Institute with Glenn Blackwood and Kevin Clark at the time, when they wanted to show us what they were going to put in the Holyrood. I was the mayor at the time, so I went down to Woods Hole down in Boston, and they took me to a few different sites. I mean, when we first started here, we had an old fish plant that they put some money into, and they were trying to make that work, but when they got into it, it was too far gone, so they had to tear it down. And you know what I mean, there was a lot of setbacks over time, and they were trying to get the money from the government agencies and some of their own money into it, you know what I mean, but to be able to see it come together now, and it was called the launch, as the mayor indicated, you know what I mean, just to see that facility coming to Holyrood. You know what I mean, at that time when I was mayor, there was a lot of other towns that was trying to get that facility in their communities at the time, and you know what I mean, they committed to putting it in Holyrood, and there was some discussion that it wasn't going to come here, but anyway, at the end of the day, we did get it here now. The building's built down there, you know what I mean, it's going to be nice when it's done. The grounds is going to look nice, you know what I mean, it's going to bring a lot of economic driver to this town for a spin-off for other businesses. And there's, you know what I mean, there's a flyer going out the week, you know, to businesses, and if you got a business or if you need help starting a business and got no idea, you know what I mean, we got our business development and marketing Marjorie here, who does a lot of work, and she can help businesses out and get them to where they need to go. Sometimes small business and people want to start out, got questions and don't know where to turn. But I think, you know what I mean, this council and the previous council is trying to work with the business community to get more business in Holyrood. And, you know what I mean, generating business in Holyrood is one thing. and bringing in revenue and spin-offs. But, you know what I mean, also you're bringing in people that may go to work in these businesses, whether it be the Marine Institute, and they may come in buying land and building houses, you know what I mean? So we're here now, you know what I mean, and budget time, you know what I mean, we had a tight budget and we didn't want to increase any mill rates. So what better way to try not to increase mill rates than get people to build houses here, move in here, start your business here, build your business here, the industrial park, you know what I mean? There's a lot of good things happening here. And I tell you one thing, you go down there and sit down in Tim Hortons parking lot or down around the roundabout, and you count the cars that comes around there, around that roundabout throughout the day. There's some traffic going through Holyrood. There's no doubt. There's some traffic going through Holyrood. You know what I mean? And the road is not the best, but you know what I mean? But there is some traffic going through Holyrood. You know what I mean? Tim Hortons is down there. You know what I mean? Come up there and it's booming down there. And I talked to the man that owns Tim Hortons, and I mean the sales is really good here. It's a lot more than they expected. So you mean all that? But I know we'd like to see as a council and people is a supermarket. It's still on the radar. There's still groups interested into it, but you know what I mean, trying to get the land and the location and stuff and move it. But you know what I mean, there's one of the biggest things that we need in this town is a supermarket, you know, and hopefully we'll get it. Hopefully, you know what I mean, we'll get there sooner than later. But I really think, you know what I mean, there's a lot of good stuff happening in Holyrood from the business side and the Marine Institute and the spin-offs and what it's going to bring to this town. You know what I mean? And I mean, I'm looking at the picture there, you know what I mean, the HMPC and the work that was done down there on the refit of the whole marina. You know what I mean? That place was in rough shape. And, but, you know what I mean, there's a lot of good stuff happening. I think there's going to be a lot more good stuff happening in Holyrood. And I think, you know what I mean, this council is going to see a lot of good things happen over the next few years. And I know before our next meeting, I know National Volunteer Week is April 24th to the 30th. So just like to say thank you to our volunteers, you know what I mean? There's a lot of volunteers, not only on the council subcommittees and, I mean, recreation stuff, but in our schools and the breakfast programs and I mean, the seniors groups, you know what I mean? There's a lot of good volunteers here. So I'd like to say a big thank you on behalf of the town to our volunteers. And the only other one I had there, the mayor touched on it earlier, I'd like to say a special thank you to Gerard Slaney for his years of service in the fire department. It's not an easy job getting called probably out of your bed in the morning time to go to a fire or emergency situation, you know what I mean? But these people are volunteering, and he volunteered for 20 plus years. So I'd like to say a special thank for his service. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Buckle. And speaking about the Marine Institute, and I just want to commend you because you were the mayor of the day when the Marine Institute came to town. And, you know, like you said, it was an old fish plant there, and, you know, there was a lot of work that went on behind the scenes. So, you know, it was you and your council of the day, and you as mayor, so you were certain to be commended for that first step that was made in helping to bring the Marine Institute and where it's to today. I sort of picked up when I came in 2009, picked up where you left off, but it was you guys that started the process, and you are to be commended for that, okay? All right, so, Councillor Sadie King.
Did I hear you right when you spoke about the Marine Institute? That there's going to be a community room there? A place for people to go?
Yeah.
Councillor King, I was waiting for you.
Like
The first person I thought of was you.
Yeah, when they said that.
When they said that.
Because we don't have a place for anything in Holyrood. Our town is really strapped with a place to have our activities.
They specifically wanted to build on the community piece of the building, that it wasn't just a Marine Institute learning institution, that it was a community space, and they wanted to be looked at as part of Holyrood's community.
You know, that was the original plan in the beginning because I was there from the start of the Marine Institute. And
That's right, you were on council at that
I
time
was,
as well.
I was at the very first meeting where Irving Oil gave them money to start.
Yep.
I was out at the Arts Culture Centre, myself and Harry Hammond and Shirley LaCour. I was on beautification at that time. And at that time they did talk about, you know, it was help the community as well, right? And it would be a space there for the community. So I'm really excited to hear that.
Well, they did indicate that once construction reaches that point where we can actually get over there and do a sneak peek, right, then you can pick out your room then.
Oh, I'm ready.
Hoping to get us in to have a look around.
Yeah, but right now it's not the time because of the construction, but once they reach that point, hopefully within the next couple of months, that we'll be able to, if they'd like to invite us over and walk through the building. I can't wait.
I can't wait either.
There you go. Okay, thank you very much.
And I
Oh,
think
sorry.
when we did the recreation, we forgot to mention the Easter camp.
Right.
Holy Cross School has given us permission to have the Easter camp there. So registration started on April the 1st. The camp is going to run from the 18th to the 22nd. And at this point, we have over 40 children registered.
Wow.
We have a few more spaces, so if people want to get their children in, they better get on the ball and call in quickly.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
it.
All right, thank you very much. And Councillor Windsor, you can wrap it up.
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, I got a couple of little things there, I suppose. But before I go on to the details there, I just wanted to compliment Councillor Bruce King, I mean, for injecting the humour into these meetings. I mean, these can be stuffy affairs, right? But you had some really good zingers tonight, which I really appreciate. So I'll try to follow up with a little funny story myself now. And Councillor Buckle mentioned Gerard Slaney, and you did as well, Mayor. And congratulate him in his retirement. So I'd known Gerard a long time, met him through my work with the offshore many years ago, before I moved to Holyrood, right? So I moved to Holyrood about 10 years ago, I guess it was, and I was in a meeting with Gerard, and we were talking about Holyrood, and he was in the fire department and everything like that. I said, yeah, I didn't realise you're in the fire department. I said, you're a man of many talents. You're here, you know, offshore production supervisor, and you're doing that in your spare time. I'm pretty impressed by that. And he said, yes, boy, Steve, I haven't lost the basement yet. So it always stuck with me, right? And anyone who knows Gerard, he's never lost for a word, you know, and no, he's a great person, right? So certainly wish him all the best. A lot of great discussion here tonight going around the room, like hearing about all the positive things that have happened over the years. And these things take time, take many, many years, like you were saying, going back to previous councils and stuff, right? But I think that's the stuff that really excites me about being on council. Like, I mean, I get stuck into the day-to-day, and you guys know me by now, like, you know, pretty, like, detail-oriented. Can we fix this? Can we fix that? But, like, stepping back from the day-to-day and looking at the big picture of what we're trying to do in the community and improve for everyone, that's what it's all about, right? And I think that's so nice and so important to hear all that. The one thing I wanted to bring to you, I guess, and we touched on it earlier when I mentioned the Minx at the Marina. I did attend the Marina AGM on Sunday down to the Star, so I was asked to bring greetings on behalf of the town, which I did, and complimented them on their volunteerism and the work that they put into it. And like Councillor Buckle and Councillor King have said before, I mean, there was a point in time that, you know, that place was going to fall into the sea. I don't remember that myself personally, but I understand that from a lot of people in the community. So I complimented them on their work, but I also reminded them that they've got a healthy financial situation, and I encouraged them to start spending some of that money on capital and maintenance improvement projects, right? Because they had a number of things planned, I guess, for COVID, and different things were impacted. So let them know about that and pledge some support if there's opportunity there to work with town and business development and come home, and maybe there's something we can do there. And Mr. Randy Earl, he presented the financial picture to everybody, and Mr. Wayne Stokes presented a month-by-month highlight. And then there's open discussion from the group. There was one thing that was of interest to me, and I thought I'd mention it to Councillor King and Councillor Buckle where they're on the public safety. They were talking about putting in place a better or stronger emergency storm and fire readiness plan.
Yeah.
So they had a lot of windstorm events last year, and one gentleman was talking about a fire, I think it was at a Seattle Marina. I'm not a boater, so I didn't really think about this before, but when there's a fire on a boat, they had 2 fires on boats there last year, right? But in a serious event, of course, then, you know, the fire spreads, burns the ropes. Then you got a burning boat that's pinwheeling around the marina, catching other boats on fire, and it just goes from there. So, I don't know, maybe that's something that we could, the chief could, you know, collaborate on with them to help improve the safety. Just thought I'd mention that.
Councillor Bruce, you spoke that before, the emergency preparedness plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, that's it for me.
Okay.
All good.
Thank you very much, Councillor Windsor. So that wraps up the agenda. Date of the next meeting is May 3rd at 5:30 p.m. So could I have a motion to adjourn, please? Moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Buckle. All those in favour? Those against?